always wondered, what are Australian conventions like?
Okay, so there isn't really a lot. I've been to 2 different ones. There is Supernova, which is more like a Comic-Con. Yeah. And then there is Smash, which is the big anime con in Sydney.
Right.
Does Smash stand for anything?
Yeah, the Sydney Manga and Anime Show.
Good name.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first time I went was in like 2013, 14, something like that. And there was maybe like 3,000 people, 4,000 people. It was a tiny convention. But the year that I went, before the pandemic, where I was a guest at, there was like almost like 30, 40,000 people. So it's like clearly grown massively. In terms of, but like, I honestly think like in terms of like the actual like vibe of the con and stuff like that, I don't really see it as that much different to like a US con or any other like English-speaking convention, because it's like
just
everyone.
Way more cunts being
yeah, it's just I mean,
not actual cunts, but
not actual. Like, so we're not throwing cunts, but like
Australian cunts.
Yeah. I mean, like even then though, it's I don't know. I mean, obviously, I felt a little more at home because I was talking to people with the same accent as me. Yeah. But and because like that was like my first con ever, right? It's like my home turf. But in terms of like a con experience, I guess like. Yeah, I didn't really see it as that much more different to like a standard like American con, I guess. Like the people, I feel just like weebs in general or like anime fans in general, like no matter where you are, they kind of all give off like the same vibe of like, a lot of them are just kind of like chill and down to earth and just want to like chat with you, I guess. Because like in Australia, like a lot like America is like, a lot of stranger friendliness is still pretty prevalent, right? So it's like, people didn't really have, at least not a lot of people, didn't really have problems, coming up to me and talking to me and stuff like that, just as like, hey, Joe, what's up, man? Like, that kind of stuff. Like, so, yeah, I mean, you guys will definitely fucking have a great time if we ever end up going to Smash or an Australian convention. It's just, every now and then you will meet those like very stereotypical loud Aussies who, are just like, fucking you, like that level, right? But
that sounds good to me.
That sounds like a laugh.
Yeah, I feel though those kinds of people you wouldn't really find at a lot of like anime cons. You'll see them at the pub,
right?
But very rarely have I seen an anime fan.
Dude, it's like conventions. You love going to the pub after that's close by, and you just see people like Kirito downing like a Stella. You're like, what's going on? I don't remember this part of the anime.
It's like, chicken like an Asuna cosplay is like doing a shui. It's like that.
We like to drink with Asuna. Asuna is our mate.
I didn't unfortunately see that, but I wish I did.
Do a lot of people get drunk at Aussie conventions? Because that's a big thing about British conventions. Way more than like
so much.
It is like
all they do.
It's more than the actual convention itself. It's people are just like, oh, there's anime here. Cool, let's get a fucking pint.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. At least in Sydney, I don't think it would be as much as in the UK, just because like drinking or eating out in Sydney is really fucking expensive. Like, like a pint of beer is like, fucking $10 Australian in like a lot of like places in Sydney, right? Like in the city.
Like 10 Aussie dollars or 10?
Like 10 real dollars?
Yeah, $10
real currency, Joe.
Yeah, $10 dues. So, and I think to like a lot of kids who come to these conventions, like $10 is a lot of money, right? Like that's $10 you can spend on anime merch at the con.
Yeah, of course.
So I didn't see as many drunk people as I thought there was going to be. But a lot of the parents were getting drunk, that's for sure. They were like,
hey, they've had a hard day.
Yeah, like they probably drove like an hour to get into the city and being like, all right, kids, have fun at your Japanese convention. Daddy and I are going to go over to the pub and get shit-faced while we wait for you. Yeah. So like,
I'm taking care of the kids.
Yeah. So like in between like signings and stuff, I'd take a step outside and, you look over at the terrace of some of these like pubs like on the water and, there's just a lot of parents clearly just like waiting for their kids, just being like, another beer?
Man.
Yeah, all right.
Can't blame them. Can't blame them.
Honestly, I'd probably do the same when I have kids,
Yeah.
Like, because I'm like an only child, so I never had this experience, but I remember like Sydney talking about it all the time where, your parents would just take you to events and then you would just give all the responsibility to the older sibling to take care of the younger siblings and just like, here's a bunch of money, fuck off, have fun,
Yeah, I definitely had that, that's for sure.
Maybe. I can't remember really. Maybe I was a little shit, so maybe
I think I very rarely had experiences like that. because I think like me and my sister didn't really like share a lot of like the same like interests when we were growing up. I feel as adults now we're like starting to like share more of like the same likes on things, but I don't really like remember going to a lot of events with my sister. Like we maybe went to like a few concerts, but that's
did your parents ever take you to an event that you just didn't want to fucking go to, but you had to go to because your parents were going to
football matches?
Football matches.
My dad used to drag me to football matches. He's gonna love this bit now. He said, "I didn't drag you. You wanted to go." No, he would bribe me with chocolate. He would be like, "I'll buy you a Galaxy bar, which is like this chocolate in the UK, not like the small bars, like the this sized block one. You know, where we're talking like we got some serious chocolate mileage here." He's like, "I'll buy it for you," and then I had to then. This is the worst part. My dad will laugh at this. Is that when I was like 8, he would take me to like the pub before.
Yeah.
Right.
Where it was literally like it's like a football club, right? So it's cheap, it's dirty, it's absolutely rammed, it stinks. It's like everyone is eating like pork scratchings and downing like really cheap pints.
Yeah. Right.
I actually remember just sitting there, just like not understanding anything. Although that they would just ask me sometimes stuff about football, and I'd be like, "Yeah, Wayne Rooney."
Yeah.
I just remember I never understood anything.
Right.
And one time I went to a match and Everton. My dad's obsessed with like Everton family and stuff, and I remember they won because I was there, and my dad was like convinced that I was the good luck charm.
Yeah.
To why we won. So I got dragged to more, even though I told them I was like, I hate it. I do not want to go. I absolutely despise this, because I would just stand there. And I remember it was cold and it was so loud, and I just wanted to play my Game Boy. But I had to watch these people kick, and I was like, why is it 90 minutes long? That's so long.
So to a child, 90 minutes is a long time.
And like I would always be like, can I get some like, because I don't know why. I always as a kid I just wanted to eat.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to eat, and they would sell those like stupidly long hot dogs. At these football events. Yeah, I remember one time I had one, and my dad let me like just like hold on to it for like 2 seconds, and someone bumped into me and I dropped it.
All right,
and then I was so mortified, and I remember I think that ruined football for me. I was like, no. I'm done.
Can't even eat a hot dog.
This guy didn't even buy me a new one. He like knocked me over, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But I was like 8, so I didn't know how to articulate. All I remember was I was just really sad that I dropped this hot dog.
Right.
And you couldn't buy a new one because
my dad had just given me like enough money to buy it, and it was like I couldn't. I know he'd like let me have it, and I was like, "Oh my god, no!" And then all the other food was like, it was like steak and kidney pies, from like this thing called pucker pies in the UK. They're so bad. They're really really bad.
Right.
But no, I remember that like, I sort of liked it, but just remember being like totally confused and not really understanding it. And I never really liked football. Yeah. My brothers did though. They liked going. And my older brother liked it a lot, but I just never liked it. And I felt like I was a failure to my dad, because he was like, I just want you to like sports. Why can't you like sports?
Why can't you be a normal person and like sports?
I'm like the only kid in the UK that didn't like football. And he's like, why?
I remember like, because my parents were like really into like looking at property. Right, like
what?
And for the longest time, I was like, "Oh, are we gonna move house?" Like, I would get excited. I'm like, "No." It's like, "No, we're just looking."
What?
And I was like, "We're literally window shopping houses," and they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, to a 10-year-old, I was like, "What the fuck?"
This sounds like the most privileged, non-privileged thing I've ever heard.
Well, because it's like, because my dad is like, heavily into like stocks and like investing.
He's an investment.
He's an investor.
I'm watching A Home in the Sun because it's an investment.
Yeah. He was an investor, right? And also like my parents used to go a lot as well, so that they could get inspirations for like interior design and stuff like that. Because my dad loved doing like renovations into the house and stuff, so he would get a lot of like good ideas from that, right?
That makes more sense.
But like, to a 10-year-old, I don't know what the fuck like all that shit is, right? Like, you would think if your parents came up to you and said, "Son, we're gonna go check out some houses today," the first thing you would think of as a 10-year-old is, "Yay, we're moving," right? And my sister, who's like 3 years younger than me, was like, "Oh, we're moving house. That's so exciting. Yay." So naturally, for the first couple of times, we'd go along with them, right?
Yeah.
Until we realize we're not moving.
We're just looking at houses.
We're just looking at them.